Is it a good idea for you to go with traditional publishing versus self-publishing your book? Today I'll talk about exactly about that particular subject, and should you go the traditional way or should you stay with self-publishing as your best possible option? All right, so in the past I had a video where I was talking about self-publishing versus traditional publishing, the pros and cons on both of them. Now today I want to talk specifically in more depth about traditional publishing and why it might be a really good choice for you if you meet specific criteria. Now, without any further ado, let's jump into it. So the first criteria where traditional publishing might be a good choice for you is if you have a massive following. So then that company who is helping you they know how to leverage that following really well, because this is all they do. They use your following as a vehicle to really fuel that engine, right? If you have millions and millions of followers, they know how to do that. Now, on the self-publishing side, if you are working with a team who also know how to do that, that is almost on a scale equal, right? Because these guys are specializing on that. With self-publishing, you can do exactly that, right? It's just the expertise, depending on which traditional publishing company you're working with. Sometimes they pull it off really well. So you have to do your own research, but if you have a massive social media following, you might want to consider both options as a possibility. Now, if you don't, self-publishing is a way, right? You will not get a good result with traditional publishing because they focus on those people that have a massive following, because that's where they make the most money. This is where their cut is the biggest, right? This is where their cut has the biggest potential because they are making more money the more money author makes, for example, right? Because they have this more strict agreement. Now, I would say number two is if you are lazy, basically, if you don't want to do anything, right? Then traditional publishing is they will take care of most of the stuff, except some of the writing elements, for example. And depending on a company, they might write the whole thing for you. But that really ties with also with the following, how much following do you have? Because if you don't have much following, chances are, number one, they're not going to accept you as their traditional publishing partner on this particular project, and number two, they're going to ask you to pay a specific amount of money in order to work with them. So that's also not the usual model. And number three, they're gonna have a really long-term agreement with them. They're gonna make you this long-term partnership where you cannot get out, you cannot change anything, right? Unless you are willing to buy yourself out. And usually those agreements contain that, right? Okay, now let's go back. Number three, the number three way on why traditional publishing might be a very good option for you. If you have a very specialized book, right, traditional publishing might be a great way, because there are traditional publishing companies out there that specialize in very niche subjects. For example, technology, for example, complex fiction books. So these houses have really good professional writers that focuses on those subjects, and they know these areas inside out, right? And if you don't want to do your research and you don't have a bunch of time really analyzing different writing examples and picking your own writers, and you want something that with proof, something who has been there and done that before many times over, you might want to consider traditional publishing as a great choice. If you have really specific thing happening and your book doesn't have, for example, really wide appeal, and you want to publish your book with a very specific goal in mind, right? So these are the three main reasons why you might want to go with traditional publishing. Now, in the last video, I mentioned the cons of traditional publishing being long-term agreements from 7 years up more, 10 years, 15 years. Sometimes it's a lifetime agreement for that book. specific rights. You don't own your book fully, right? So your ownership is split between that traditional publishing house and you, right? The royalty split, right? When however much you're making, you have to split that with the traditional publishing house, for example, right? And these are just the main things. There are even more complicated things that we'll find in those different agreements, right? The lack of control. You cannot change the cover anytime you want. You cannot change the description or the title anytime you want. You cannot make these monetization adjustments for testing reasons, for example. There are many reasons why you wouldn't want to go with traditional publishing, but if you meet any of these three criteria I mentioned today, you might want to consider that, or you might want to go deeper. Now, at High Value Author, we are basically a success team that help using the tool of self-publishing, because we believe that's the best tool to really do that in a very systematic and successful way to publish a book. We believe that's the best way, and we believe that's the future. Traditional publishing is going down, is dying, right? Now, if you want to learn more about how to use self-publishing, or if maybe you're not sure if to go with traditional publishing or self-publishing, and you have questions, you want to figure out more about this success process, how to make your book successful after it's live, or maybe you need help with writing a book, book your call. It's 100% free. It's called Bestseller Strategy Call, where my team and me, we're going to lead you through the process of what it takes to become a best-selling author. And maybe we can help you out with that as well. Right? So anyway, if you want to do it, you feel free to click the link below and schedule a call whenever you see a time slot available. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.